Welcome to the weekly Shia Zera Shimshon. Yoim Hey le Pashas Veschanan. Yud Gimel le Chodesh Av Tavshim Pei Hey. This Shabbos Haba Oleinu L'Toiva is called Shabbos Nachmu, and it would seem from the expression that we call this Shabbos Nachmu that Shabbos in itself has within it the ingredient that Klal Yisrael need in order to find the Chama. What can be the understanding of this, and what is the inner meaning of that Shabbos is the Shirish of Nechama? Let's learn together B'siyata Dishmaya a nifladige piece in Zera Shimshon in Ois Yudara in this week's parasha, and I'm trying to understand the words that he's saying, and I hope we are mechaven l'daitoi hagdoila. And then we'll understand, perhaps, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, what the message of Shabbos Nachmu is and how we can find a new appreciation for every Shabbos. Says the Heilige Zera Shimshon. The Medrash says on the Pasuk, Nachmu, Nachmu, Amu Yoim Elekechem. There's a double lashon, Nachmu, Nachmu. Say Chazal, Chotu Bekiflayim. Klal Yisrael sinned in a way that is considered doubled. Shnema, Chet Chata Yerushalayim. Chet Chata, a double chet. Velaksa Bekiflayim, and they were punished twice. Shnema, Kilaksa Miyad Hashem, Kiflayim, doubled Oynish. Umis Nachmim Bekiflayim, and they get an Nechama in a lashon that is doubled. Shnema, Nachmu, Nachmu, Ami Yoim Elekechem. So we have a double chet chata, a double punishment, lockstock bakiflayim, and a double nechama. The hiksha Zera berech b'parasha zu. Can anybody explain? He asks, "V'chi gvil yesh lechet chata bakiflayim." What do you mean double avera? Does it mean a lot of averas? That's not double. V'oid yesh lehoisiv lehakshes. Ima emes. If it's true, shemeshvil shachatu bakiflayim nedoinu. If the understanding is they did a double avera, that's why they were punished, as the pasuk continues, Al Kain Lenida Hayasa. So why, frek the Heilige Zera Shimshon, do we use a lashon of Chet Chata Yerushalayim? Chet is always a lashon that's used for shoygeg, which means it wasn't the person's fault on such a high level. If we talk about that they deserve an oynish, it should have said Pesha Pasha Yerushalayim. The shoyness that are harsher, that are more severe. It was only a shoygig. If it was only a shoygig, how do you continue to say Al Kain Lenida Hayasa? Therefore, they were considered a nida, and Hashem separated himself from them. The Eibishter wouldn't bring the destruction of Beis Hamikdash because people did averas by mistake. V'oid, another question, Frek the Zera Shimshon, Imadin Hay Noisen. If it's true that because we sinned twice, we deserve to be punished twice, Im Kain Eina Din Noisen, she's Nachmu Bekiflayim. How does the Medrash follow on? Because we sinned twice, because we punished twice, therefore we deserve that Hashem should console us and comfort us twice. On the contrary, it was our fault. We messed up, chet chata, therefore we got punished. So why do we deserve to get the nechama twice? Because we were punished twice, which really we were undeserving, therefore Hashem has to console us and give us comfort, give us nechama bekeflayim, to appease them. These two things are a contradiction. If we deserve the punishment because we sinned twice, therefore we deserve to get punished twice. So why does it follow on that we deserve to get nechama twice? These are the kashas that the Heilige Zera Shimshon asks. And he says a teretz. We want to cut out the arichas of the words inside, but the yisoid of the teretz is, let's say, just the ikar yisoid of the Zera Shimshon. The Mishnah says, "Haveratz lemitzvah kala u boireach min avera." What does it mean, boireach min avera? She'adam yesh letamid lispachet pen yava lidei chet b'shoigig. It doesn't mean when a person sees an avera, he should run a mile. That's not the translation uboireach min avera. It means that constantly a person should have such yiras shamayim that he should be filled with yiras Hashem and with a fear that maybe he will sin, and therefore I'm going to stay miles away because I don't want to get close to the edge, to the avera. And this is a fear that a yid should have constantly. He is terrified. Maybe he'll be nichshel avera. Somebody that doesn't do this, he is lazy and he's not so afraid of sin. But he thinks, even if I will sin, okay, it won't be my fault. Such a person that doesn't have the fear to stay a mile away from an avera, he is considered, says Zera Shimshon, a person that comes close to Tumah. He's balatame. He opens up the door for an opportunity of sinning, and then Hashem will make him stumble. Hashem will remove the divine assistance, the siyata d'shmaya, or bevadai she'nichshel b'chet, and that will cause that he'll be nichshel b'chet. Says Zera Shimshon, every day in a person's life, he has to be filled with fear that maybe I'll be nichshel in an avera, even b'shoigig, and he'll make himself gedorim mitziyagim, boundaries and limitations, not to do certain things, not to go to certain places, not to be involved in certain activities, because maybe that will bring the hate. If he doesn't do that, he doesn't have that fear, he's not boireach min avera, what's going to happen is Hashem will take away his siyata d'shmaya, and this person will be nichshel in a chet b'shoigig. And then it continues. He'll sin once, then he'll start derailing, and he'll go from bad to worse. Avera gereis avera. And once he does twice an avera, says Rav Huna, and therefore once it's nas lekeheta, he'll go from bad to worse and worse to worse. And then he'll be filled with chatoim. Says the Zera Shimshon, this is what it means. Yerushalayim before the Charbon was filled with averas, serious averas, am peshoim, mazid, and rebellion against the Eibishter. Mikol mokem karak kosav chait. You know I call it chait? How did this spiral out of control? Because it all began with an attitude, with an approach. No, it's not so bad to sin. It's not the end of the world. And it didn't make Gedarim Misyagim. They didn't keep the words of the Mishnah, Uberech min Avera, and therefore that took away the Siyata Dishmaya, the Siyua from Shemayim, and they did Averas, Shoigig, and that brought them to do B'mezid, and that brought Pesha, and that brought the Chorm Beis Mikdash. Says the Zera Shimshon, you know what the translation of the word Chotu B'Keflayim means? Not with the two Averas. It means there were two components to the first Avera. First was a Srashlus. They were lazy. They weren't focusing on being careful not to be Nichshel in Avera. They were called Baratame. The Ibdu Hafiyah Ha'elyon. They lost the divine assistance. That's called one Chait. And I would add, Chait is a lashon of chisaron. The first chisaron that happened was they didn't have the Yiras Shamayim necessary. By Avera number one, it's considered two. It's considered doubled. It's not two Averas. The Avera is multiplied because you have the Avera itself, and then you have the attitude and the approach beforehand. They were punished twice, which means first of all, they got punished for the Avera itself that they did, and then even after the Pagam went away, this capital Alein Yisurim should the Isram as Layu. It became double because once you don't have the divine assistance, then the mazel is no longer the way Yiddish mazel is, and then the klalois, mekelos is paleim. Then it starts bringing another tragedy and another problem and another tsar, because the person's missing the divine assistance. Once a person's missing that siyua, then that itself will cause that misfortunes come his way. So there was a loku b'kiflayim, one for the Avera, and one is because the person was lacking that help from Shemayim. We suffered the terrible loss of the Beis Hamikdash, and Klal Yisrael did tshuva. And then the Navi comes and he says, I'm going to comfort you in a double lashon. Nachmu nachme ami. Metchila oimelem ki imala tzava'a. Haini shegia zemanim shkadosh baruch hu roitze legalam. Hashem will bring you back. And this will be two parts. First of all, Hashem will take away the Avera itself and will be cleansed of the Avera. Secondly, we'll get back that siyua. We'll get back that kirva. We'll get back that closeness. As Rabbeinu Yonah writes, after a person does tshuva, he has to ask the Eibishter for something else. Hashiveli sasoin yishecha. He wants to get back the closeness that he had originally. And that's what we daven Yom Kippur, even after we get rid of the Averas. But that's not enough. Just get rid of the Chet. The Chet caused a period, a separation. We want to get rid of the Chet, A, and B, get back to that closeness that we had originally. And that's going to happen by Nechama B'Keflayim. Hashem says, not just I'm going to take away the Avera, but you're going to get back that closeness. And the Zera Shimshon continues with Devarim Neflaim. And I think we can add, this is Shabbos Nachmu. Chazal tell us, Shabbos is a day that everything is doubled. We brought in Shabbos the carbon, Musav, Shtei Kvasim, 2 Kvasim. Shabbos we have Zachar v'Shamoy. Shabbos we have Lechem Mishnah. Shabbos we light 2 candles. Kol Maser Kefulim. There's a double concept, aspect in regards to Shabbos. You know what this can perhaps mean in light of this nifladige piece in Zera Shimshon. Shabbos, a person zoiche, by the day Shabbos at Rosh Hashanah, Shabbos by Toshuv. A Shabbos a day a person returns, kala over by the Zera, afile kader enosh, v'shoyme Shabbos moichlim loy. We get 2 things on Shabbos. First of all, we can get rid of the Chet. But secondly, and maybe more importantly, we get back that closeness to the Eibishter. There's a double siyua on Shabbos to erase the Chet and to get back that closeness. As we always mention from the Sfasemes, the Gemara tells us, the Eibishter tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Matana toiva yeshli bebeis genazai v'Shabbos shema. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I have in my treasury a gift called Shabbos. Tell Klal Yisrael. Says the Sfasemes, it doesn't say tell Klal Yisrael that I'm going to bring out the gift from the treasury and give it to them. No. You know what it means? On Shabbos, we go in to the Beis Genazim of the Eibishter. We go into the inner chamber. How is that? Because Hashem Yisbarach doesn't only erase sins on Shabbos. The Eibishter takes us in. And we feel so close on Shabbos. The kirva of Shabbos, the dveikus of Shabbos, the ko'ech soiv noyam Shabbos, the Shabbos noyam anashamois v'oine geruchos. The Eiden Anafashois list Adein Ba'avasecha Yirasecha. That's what Shabbos is. So Shabbos has these 2 components. It comes Shabbos Nachmu. The Shabbos is a Shabbos of Nechama, because the Shabbos also has these 2 ideas. Kol Maser Kefelim. Everything on Shabbos is double. So the Eibishter helfen, we should be zoiche to the ultimate Nechama on Shabbos. We should be zoiche to the closest to the Eibishter, this Heilige Shabbos. And the Eibishter should see how Klal Yisrael want his closeness, are desperate for that relationship, and will bring us back to the Beis Hamikdash, to the Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'mehera B'imenu. Zechusay Agadol V'Kadosh Yogan Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael Livashem V'Yishuv V'Rachmim. A good Shabbos Nachmu.